What is up, guys? Ben Allen back again with another video, and in today's topic we're going to be talking about how to study for the Nremt, which is pretty much the National Registry of Emergency Medical Technicians. And whether you're an AIT soldier who's going through Fort Sam Houston as a 68 Whiskey combat medic, or if you're just a civilian going through trying to get your cert, we're going to be talking about the key tips to study for this test, right? Tips that I implemented myself when I was studying for it, and tips that some of my friends use while studying for it as well. But before we get into that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, give this video a thumbs up, and turn on that little bell notification. That way you guys can stay up to date with all of my new content. But without further ado, let's get to it. Alright guys, so like I just said, we're going to be talking about tips to study for the Nremt. And for those of you that don't know what the Nremt is, it's pretty much the test you have to take in order to become an EMTB, Emergency Medical Technician Basic. It's an adaptive test, or a CAT test, right? So computer adaptive test. And that pretty much means that it's going to be adapting to the way you think and the way you test, right? So it can range from 75 to 140 questions, I believe. It's been a while since I took it. But pretty much, right, this test can determine whether you're, sucking really, really bad or doing really, really good, right? So it can determine it's gonna stop you at 75 questions or 140 questions, right? So me, I was fortunate enough to get 75 questions and be done. Then I had to wait like 2 or 3 days in order to get my results back. I was having nightmares about this shit. I was like, what if I failed? What if I didn't pass? I'm gonna have to retake it. And it was just stressing me out, but still, right? So pretty much, right, this test can determine before the 75 questions if you passed or if you failed. So if you hit 75, doesn't necessarily mean that you passed, right? The computer test could have been like, yo, this guy is not doing good, like he's failed, these subjects and things like that, and hey, we're gonna fail him right here. Or it can be teetering, like, yo, this guy's getting some questions right, this guy's getting some questions wrong, so it'll keep going, right? You can get all 140 questions. But speaking of the topics that that the Nremt can test you on, it just ranges from a bunch of different ones, right? So just to name a few, you have anatomy, trauma, respiratory, right? Acute abdominal illnesses, OBGYN, and those are just a couple of the subjects, right? So this thing can, test you on a few more, right? It has a bank of questions that it can ask you, that it can pull from on different subjects, right? And once you test on each of those subjects and you get a certain amount right, it'll jump to the next subject that you have in the queue, pretty much. It's kind of really hard to study for, right? Because it adapts to you and your skill set, right? So some of the things that I did in order to study for this test, right? Like I just dedicated all my time, because I took it at Fort Sam Houston, because if you don't know, for those of you that are new to the channel, I'm a 68 Whiskey combat medic healthcare specialist in the United States Army, right? So we have to take this test in order to certify and get that MOS. The first 6 weeks of our training at Fort Sam Houston, right? It's just the EMT portion. We're taking tests, we're studying, we're going through classes, just getting prepared for this. But just going through those classes isn't going to prepare you enough, right? You have to be able to put aside that time, in your spare time pretty much, to study for that test, right? And when I say study, I don't mean waiting for the last minute before the test to cram all this information in, because cramming is scientifically proven to not be as successful as other study methods. You want to actually set aside a block of time. You want to manage your time to where you're going to be studying for like maybe 25 to 30 minutes at a time, right? And then you take like a 10-minute break, focus on different things, go to the restroom, eat a snack, and just chill out, right? And then once that 10 minutes is up, 15 minutes is up, you go back in, you study for another 25 to 30 minutes. And I can tell you, I retained way more information doing it like this than actually just, studying for like an hour or two, just back to back, trying to cram everything in my brain, because it's a variety of topics that you're gonna be tested on. And to fit everything inside your brain in that amount of time is just not gonna happen. Some people can do that, but not everybody, right? Like the best way that I found is just taking those 20 to 30 minutes study of subject, right? Just one subject. And then bam, take a 10-minute break, come back. And that's just one of the things that I did. Another thing that I did is I got these apps, right, off of the App Store, pretty much if you have an iPhone, or the Google Play Store. And just the Nremt apps, like I'll just pull it up, right? I'll show you a few that I have or had. Just go to the App Store, right? Bam, open it up. And literally just type in Nremt, right? And then just press like test prep and things like that. And I'll show you guys right here, right? So one, let it focus, right, is Emt Pocket Prep. And that one's pretty good, right? It's free. And then there's another one, right? Emt Review Plus is another one that I got. I think I bought this one, I'm not sure, but I bought a few, right? Because I really wanted to study. And the best thing about these apps is that they pretty much simulate the Nremt, right? They have a bank of questions available. It's not just like a study guide that they give you, which study guides are good, right? But they're not as proven to help you study as, you know, actual simulated apps or simulated testing websites that have banks and banks of questions, right? Because study guides are only gonna have, you know, what's printed on them, right? And you know, what's available. And you can, that's just remembering answers, which is good, but the test is gonna test you on so much more and it's gonna adapt to you, right? So those apps that I just showed you, right, which you can download, you know, they'll help you out. I highly recommend getting those apps. They'll give you like, you can click a certain section on those apps and, you know, say you're not that good at like OBGYN, right? You click that and you're like, yo, hey, I'm gonna go through these questions. And pretty much it just asks you like, just regular, you know, common answers, right? Like, or common questions, like what is this or what is that, right? Or for example, like, oh, what is the number of compressions and respirations you have to give during CPR, right? Something like that. And then, you know, you click it, it tells you, and then you go through it and it tells you where you're most deficient and like what subjects you really need to start studying on a little more. And so I think that's just one of the better ways to do it. Just get some apps and actually go through those little simulated Nremt study guides, because those are way better than just an actual piece of paper, which is still beneficial. If you learn that way, cool. But apps, I highly recommend apps. They will get you pretty far. And another thing, guys, that I personally did is looking at those questions and really understanding why the wrong answers weren't the right answer, if that makes sense, right? So for example, right, say a question is, what is the average like blood pressure, right, for an adult male or just an adult, right? So, you know, the correct answer is like, so like answer A would be 120/80, answer B would be like 90/80, answer C would be like 200/100, right? And you know, just fucking D could be all of the above, right? But obviously the answer is A, 120/80, right? That's normal blood pressure for an adult. And so you look at the wrong answers, right? Like, why aren't these the right ones? And you look at it and you're like, well, you know, 90/80, he's really hypotensive, you know, his blood pressure is super, super low. That's not normal, right? That should be a red flag in your head. And then same for C, right? Like 200/100, that's, you know, that's hypertensive. So, you know, hey, this is not the right answer, right? So by process of elimination, you're already setting yourself up for success, because it can only be, you know, like one possible answer. And I'm telling you guys, this test is gonna try and trick you, right? Because some of these answers are so close in comparison to each other, right? Like, hey, what's this and what's that? And you're like, whoa, you know, that makes sense. But, you know, so does this one. But at this point, you gotta go with the best possible answer, right? You can't just be like, oh, you know what, that one's it, makes sense. You have to really read and understand these questions, guys. So that's another thing I recommend doing, just really comprehend these questions, right? Do the study guides, right? Get the apps. Also do the 20 to 30 minutes of studying, take a 10-minute break, and then bam, you're good, right? And also, I strongly encourage you for the practical skills portion, right? Because you have like a hands-on portion, pretty much like the all skills portion, where you get tested on these practical exercises that, you know, NREMTs or EMTBs need to know, right? So there's like, you know, for those, they give you like these step-by-step scenario situation, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, pretty much, guys, like the exact steps you have to go on, right? Study those, go step by step by step, right? Because practice makes perfect, and if you run through it enough times, it's gonna stick in your head. It becomes muscle memory, right? So when you're doing like, you know, chest compressions or using the defibrillator or, you know, things like that, like those steps just stay in your head, right? Or administering oxygen, right? Like EMTs don't really think about that. It's just second nature to them when, you know, they arrive on call or they arrive on the scene, or if you're a medic and you get a casualty and you're like, oh shit, you know, I know what to do, because you've practiced it so many times. And so you go through it and you're like, yo, I remember this, because again, repetition, right? Repetition. It just makes for better muscle memory. You actually get the hands-on portion and bam, you're good to go. So that's like my #1 tip for the actual practical exercise portion, is actually commit it to memory, get the steps down, and just run through it. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. Those are specific things that I did personally, right? So, you know, your study habits may vary from mine, but I highly recommend trying some of these tips, right? They're like the best things that I did and what most of my friends and battle buddies in AIT did to pass the Nremt. And I passed it on the first try, which is not really like a phenomenal thing, I guess you could say. But you know, it's good. Usually people fail it on the first try and they get it their second try, or you know, they get it their third try. But the National Registry also has a 3-strike limit, so if you bolo out 3 times and you don't pass it, you're gonna have to repeat the entire course again in order to take the Nremt, which is gonna really suck because you don't want to do that. Because every time, if you're a civilian, it costs money to take the test, right? But if you're a soldier going through AIT, you know, it's pretty much free. But you bolo 3 times, you're gonna have to get reclassed, get a different MOS. You're not gonna be a 68 whiskey, and that's gonna really suck because all your friends are gonna move on while you're getting, you know, put somewhere else, and you're gonna have to do a bunch of other shit. It's just not ideal, pretty much. But I hope this video helped you guys. I hope you guys apply these study habits to your Nremt study prep, and I hope they're able to help you. Also, comment down below what's your favorite study tip from today's video, and also if you have your own, comment that down below as well. I hope it helped you. I really hope to see you on the next videos. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you aren't already. Hit that like button and turn on that bell notification. That way you guys can stay up to date with all of my future videos, right? Also, follow my Instagram as well, Ben_Allen175. All right, I hope this helped you out, and I hope you passed your Nremt. Good luck, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Later.